So, I've kind of wanted to make a video like this for a while now. I've wanted to show the Foundations program I use, by the way. I wanted to show the behind the scenes of my music that I make, even though most people probably don't care about my music. So, I'm logged in. I'm getting premium soon, which means I can use tons of these things. So, I wanted to show behind the scenes and what I did with my most recent track, Calm Machinery. Now, I kind of regret what I called it because it's more of like robots. Sounds more like robots, but at the time it was just calm and sounded like robot and machinery because I only had made the first drop. So my brother, right, let him mess around with Foundation for a bit on my account. He got these 3 samples but had no idea what to do with them, so I took them and made a song out of it. So I'm not particularly a huge fan of the synth up, and I think it fits out. BtS is pretty cool, but the bass trance is what I'm focusing on here, this one. So throughout the entire song, I kind of just used these 2 once, and then I never used them again. So, as you can see here, it's pretty simple stuff. So we have our audio channels here. This is my first time using effects like degrade and distortion, aside from chip bit, which I used once just to make the 8-bit, but I never really experimented around with it. So yeah, more distortion and stuff like that. So to make the song more interesting, I used the automates to change the degraders throughout the song. So for example, here I was just messing around, then I realized it kind of makes a robot sound when you do that. So there's like a little transition here where it kind of, if I go to here, Foundation is laggy right now, so sorry about that. It's weird, it sounds really weird, but that kind of chip bit fade is because of this automate here. Then actually, hold on, give me 1 second. So now I'm using Chrome in hopes that it works better, because Chrome works the best on on the computer that I actually make these. This is my gaming computer. I have like a educational school computer or whatever. So open. I'm hoping this works better and isn't as laggy because it's Chrome, and Chrome works the best on my other computer, as I mentioned. So I'm just going to make sure everything's loaded, the SPC. Yep. But it sounds awful because there's lots of distortion. But that'll change throughout the song. So as I said here, if I get my degrader rate, you can see it's down for the entire song, so it has no chip, or kind of like robot elements. Then yeah, it's not lag, but then when it gets here, if we turn the kicks and snares off for a second, you can kind of like, you can hear that kind of transition into chiptune. That's because of the degrader. Then this next segment's pretty simple. It's a fade between normal and the thing. Then there's the drop. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the first drop because it's quite slow, but it's definitely calm and a different leaf for what I know. A different experience compared to what I usually make. So yeah, as in the SPC, I'm using dubstep. Oh, I messed it up. Well done. Oh, I messed it up. Anyway, so yeah. So if you don't know how to use this is a kick. If it's on this line, then it's a kick. That's a snare. If it's on this line, it's a snare. It's a closed hi-hat. If it's on this line, it's a closed hi-hat. And that's an open hi-hat. It's on this line. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of just like a slow build-up segment into the drop, which in my opinion, as I mentioned, is alright, but it's just pretty slow. It gets really good here. Right here. I think it's kind of weird, but it fits pretty well. So with the volume here, it's normal, but then it kind of fades out so you can actually hear the kicks and snares. Then it comes back. The rate constantly changing to make the pitch sound different each and every time, although it's just truly degrading it less so it sounds more like the normal version, or degrading it more so it sounds more like the actual version. So it sounds more like the chiptune version. So yeah, the SPC down here, it's got some pretty simple stuff. As I was doing earlier with the SPC, it's kind of like, this is what it sounds like. However, it's got the distortion, so it sounds like, it's got the distortion, so it sounds like, it's got the distortion, so it sounds like this. Yeah, you get the idea. Now I need to quickly reload because I screwed this up. So the wood here isn't used that much actually. I never actually used this. Wow, because it says double click to create note. I use the piano though. It's an electric piano. You can kind of hear it. All of this stuff is free, by the way. You can go to soundation.com and try and make a song for yourself. I plan to upload a tutorial eventually. So yeah. So the audio channel down here is pretty quiet. I never really focused on it that much. So, because let's see. I'm not actually even sure what it sounds like normally. So I just want to see what it sounds like. So let's see what it sounds like, I guess. Oh wait. We'll find out in a second if I can get there. Okay. So it's kind of like just a chip tune out. No, it's kind of like the degrading effect. Yeah, then there's the piano there, which is all cool and stuff. Oh. So, yeah, that's the first drop. Oh, as I forgot to mention here in the degrader rate, you can see it's kind of fading up to make it sound as degraded as it possibly can, then back to the normal element, so for when the piano builds up. Then this audio channel still kind of just, yeah, normal in the background. I plan to use this sample more throughout the song, but in the end I found it too difficult to use and I just decided to go with the bass trance, which is really good because the second drop's amazing. Or at least in my opinion. Then there's, the reason why this is still slowed down is because in Soundation you can't use tempo changes, or you can't change the tempo like halfway through the song. So it has to be stuck to 1 BPM. You can't do the same with Audacity either. Like you can't. I mean, you can, but like you can't fade it into a tempo change. Which is what I really wanted to do for this build up here. I really badly wanted to make it like just build speed up as it builds up. But unfortunately, I had to during this little pause, I had to speed it up. Save a separate file to speed it up, then add the normal file for the fade out. So it actually sounds pretty different at normal speed, but yeah. forgot to mention, these little fade outs are completely accidental, and because the foundation's kind of bad, messed up placing sometimes, because sometimes it cuts bigger sizes, like when you cut at the same spot, but sometimes it splits it different, like lower sizes, so some of them don't take up enough space to the point where there's like these little pauses, which make the song sound even better, which is a completely accidental. This segment is probably one of my favorites, at least when it's sped up. Then there's just kind of like a normal after the. Then there's just a fade out to normal. Wait, no, the greater rate. Yeah. Then there's just a fade out. And that's all for this song. In my eyes, I see it as probably one of my best songs, easily because it sounds like, compared to most of my other songs, here I'll bring up an example. Open, no, don't save. For example, if I open Guitar Ride, this is awful. Actually, no, not Guitar Ride, I'll open Heartbeat, because Heartbeat's a better example. So, like, instead of just, it's still pretty, Heartbeat's one of my more awful songs as well. Oops, why is it? But it's got a faster BPM, which was unique for me at the time, because I only made 125 BPM songs. So, the reason why this song is so, and I also used hi-hats. Did I use hi-hats? No, I didn't. Oh. You can just see this is a bunch of notes everywhere. It doesn't sound very professional at all. But here with Calm Machinery, I used the first time, instead of just using samples by itself, I think it's called mastering, where you take the samples and make them your own using effects, or mess around with them a bit to make them sound different. I use that instead of focusing on a note kind of melody to a note, kind of just a bunch of notes as a main melody. It's actually more of like a professional sounding bass sound, which is funny because I never really cared about bass, because I always thought bass was just not really that important. But then in this song, my main lead is just like a robotic sounding version of some bass. Anyway, that's all. I plan to eventually make a tutorial, maybe even make a song, record me making a song, and I eventually would like to talk about this song as well. But yeah. Also, no, we're not done yet, because I have to show you something. So, how I made the rest of the song. Hold on, I just need to check if it's working. Hold on. Okay, so what I did was I saved through Foundation. There's an export button. I hope to make a tutorial, of course. Recent files, no. Import audio. As you can see, we have Calm Machinery. At normal speed. So I actually had a problem because I thought the BPM. Oh wait, never mind. No, never mind. I was actually completely correct. I'm just stupid. Because I thought what I thought I did wrong was because I thought the BPM wasn't 125, but I inserted 125 anyway, so I thought I got it wrong. But anyway, so what I did here was I went from 120 to 160. So the end result is the second drop sounding a lot more like this, or the version we're all familiar with. That's just the fade out, of course. So what I did was I saved this export audio, and I saved it as Car Machinery Fast. So then what I did was I went into Movie Maker, of course, got my cover art there. So I got my cover art. I made it about 250 seconds long. I made it 1,000 seconds long. So when I inserted the Car Machinery bow, I inserted the original first. So then I found the segment where the first drop ends. I took this, I cut it, I split it. I did this, boom, boom, then move this out of the way, go here. Then I added the fast version of the song.